So we're heading into the last quarter of 2023, which I almost can't believe. But what I can believe is that I am completely overwhelmed with all of the things that I have committed to. And there's no way I'm going to get done by the end of this year. So you might say I'm in the messy middle of 2023 and I'm feeling just a little bit overwhelmed. No, I'm feeling a lot overwhelmed. And in today's video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my life and my business and share with you how I deal with overwhelm. Because as much as I would love to tell you that it doesn't happen for me anymore, it happens to me all the day. And I'm really good at coaching other people through overwhelm, but I struggle sometimes to get past my own overwhelm. And that overwhelm comes from me saying yes to too many things. And I say yes to too many things because in the moment, it feels like if I add more to my plate, it'll either solve for some of the overwhelm that I'm feeling in the moment, or at least it'll like stuff it down a little bit more, if you know what I mean. So I end up with all of these commitments. And then one day I'll just wake up and have like a complete panic attack because there's way too many things going on and I don't feel like I have a handle on any of it. And then it takes over my life to the point where I'm so overwhelmed that I get frozen and do absolutely nothing. Good times, right? So, in honesty, that is where I have been recently. And I'm now coming out the other side of it. And I thought it would be helpful for me to dial back and show you what I did to get out of my own sense of overwhelm. Because once you're in there, it's really hard to see the forest for the trees. And if you have ADHD, as I do, it can be really hard to see a list of all of your deliverables and commitments and try to make sense or prioritize them because that's an executive function. So when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're in that limbic area of the brain, your prefrontal cortex is not online and all your executives are not functioning. They're out for a boozy lunch and you're sitting there going, I don't know what to do. So I'm making light of this, but I'll be honest with you, about 2 weeks ago, I was not in a good place, but I'm feeling better now. I've got a little perspective and I want to show you what I did because this is something that you can absolutely do too. So let's get into it. If you struggle with distraction or prioritization, then you might be interested in Distraction to Action, which is my program specifically designed for adults with ADHD who want to get schnizzle done, but they're kind of all over the place. So I will link to that below if you are interested. And now let's get on to how I got past my own overwhelm and feel so much better about the next quarter ahead. Let's do this. Now, I'm a bit of a Luddite, so whenever I'm overwhelmed, I need that visceral feeling of writing things down to get them out of my head. So I go for the old fashioned pen and paper and I just start brain dumping everything. But here's the tricky part when you have ADHD. You can go ahead and write down all of the things that are overwhelming you, no problem. But when it comes to prioritizing all of those overwhelming commitments, that's where we get into sticky business because prioritization is actually an executive function and it just happens to be one of the weakest areas for me. So if somebody were to ask me to prioritize my own list of commitments, I would say everything's a priority, which of course, as we know, it can't be because if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. So I needed to come at this a different way. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Because a neurotypical person can look at a list of responsibilities and not only be able to prioritize, but also execute in a very linear way. But me and linear thinking, we are just not friends. I kind of think like this, but it works. So with that said, let me show you how I actually backed into this list of priorities to truly understand what was most important for me in this last quarter of the year, both in terms of my business, what I want to accomplish this year, and how I want to feel about the accomplishments that I make. So in order to do this, rather than just trying to prioritize a list that I know is never going to work, I decided to look at it through the lens of my strengths, values, and needs. Knowing your strengths, needs, and values is the best way to make decisions that are not only aligned to your interests, but they're also the decisions that you're actually going to take action on and follow through on because they're important to you and they're meaningful to you. And if you want to know what those are for yourself, feel free to head over to my website and click on the resources button. You'll find them all there. Or if you sign up for my mailing list, you will also get all of these links to these assessments, which are free. And once you have that, you'll be able to do exactly what I'm about to do now. All right. First thing on the list, I've been working on an ADHD program for entrepreneurs, and I was hoping to get it out this month, but that's just not going to happen because I underestimated how much work it was because hashtag ADHD.
I have an existing program list that I need to create a strategy around for ongoing promotion because if I leave it to my memory, it won't happen. I have a regular weekly cadence of YouTube, blog, podcast, and newsletters. I have a goal to grow my Instagram and TikTok. I have another website that's getting zero love. I have to get my taxes done. I have a full roster of clients, and now I have a waiting list. I have another coach training that I signed up for through the Heart Math Institute. I'm also going to another Joe Dispenza event, which is going to take me out for about 5 days. And my YouTube channel is growing more than expected. So I'm starting to get more people reaching out for coaching and brand collaborations. And I haven't really set up a good system to manage all of that.
That is everything I've got on my to-do list right now. And I gotta say, it is very overwhelming for me. Now, before we get into the strengths, needs, and values, there's one other thing that I think is super helpful when you're looking to prioritize a whole bunch of commitments. And that is to ask yourself the question, what am I optimizing for? In my case, I am optimizing for asynchronous revenue in my business in the last 3 months of this year. So, if you've been around here for a while, then you know that at the top of the year, I set a big, hairy, audacious goal to create 6 figures in passive revenue in my business alongside my coaching practice. The reason I set that goal is that as much as I love one on one coaching, it's very time intensive. Also, I have this weird anxiety around appointments. So if there's an appointment on my calendar at 1 p.m., I'm pretty much useless for the first part of the day because all I can think about is being on time and prepared for that 1 p.m. appointment. So for me, I find that having a lot of appointments on my calendar is very unproductive in terms of any of the other work that I want to get done. So as I grow my business, I want to scale my asynchronous revenue so that I can decrease the amount of one on one calls that I have. Now, I've been working on that goal all of this year, and spoiler alert, I'm only about 50% towards my goal, and there's only 25% left of the year. So I don't know if I'm going to hit the goal at 100% or not. That's not the point. The point is I'm moving in the right direction. So for me, focusing on growing my asynchronous revenue in the last quarter of this year is what I'm optimizing for. Now let's get into the strengths, needs, and values. To keep things brief, I'll just share the top one in each category, which my strength is love of learning. My highest value, as I said, is freedom, flexibility, and my highest need is for meaningful work. So if I have those things in mind, and I know what my North Star is, which is optimizing for the 6 figures in asynchronous revenue, now I can go back to this list and go through it with the confidence and clarity that I know what I'm looking for. Okay, we know that we are optimizing for asynchronous revenue. My highest value is freedom and flexibility. My strength is love of learning, and my need is meaningful work. I will remember these cues as I go through this list. So, the first thing is the entrepreneur course. That definitely applies to my asynchronous revenue and my freedom flexibility. I'm definitely learning a lot and it's definitely very meaningful, but I've highly underestimated how long this is going to take. So I need to give myself more time on this. For the existing program promotions, I just need to sit down and give myself a little bit of time to come up with an automated schedule so that it's not something I need to remember. For the YouTube podcast, blog, and newsletter, I know that this is the foundation of my business. All of my structure is built around this. So this is definitely going to stay. And then the IG and TikTok growth, well, that's just going to go away because it doesn't really apply to any of these right here. The other website does apply to my asynchronous revenue and my freedom and flexibility, but I'm not really learning much with it and it doesn't feel very meaningful. So that too is going to come off my plate for now. The taxes I delegated to my husband. Gotta love that. My full client schedule, for now, I just have to maintain a waiting list until I have more time that I can reopen it. The heart math training definitely applies to my level of learning and meaningful work, so that is going to stay. The Joe Dispenza event definitely applies to my love of learning and meaningful work, so that's going to stay as well. And then the YouTube growth, I don't really know what to think about this right now, and I don't know that it's going to maintain itself. So if it continues to grow, I'll carve out some time at the end of the year to come up with a strategy. But for now, I'm just going to hold off on this one. So that is how I hashed out my list. And if we were to break that down into do, ditch, and delegate, I delegated the taxes because that is the least meaningful thing to me, even though it is really important. I ditched my expectations around growing my other social media platforms or paying any attention to my other website right now because I just don't have the capacity. And the things in the do list, I'm going to move forward with my regular content creation because I love it, I learned from it, and it's incredibly meaningful to me. I'm going to continue coaching my clients, but I'm also going to continue the wait list. I'm going to keep moving ahead with the coach training that I signed up for, and I'm definitely still going to the Joe Dispenza event because that to me is a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of meaning. And finally, when it comes to the program I've been designing, I'm going to continue to do that, but I'm going to take the pressure off by extending the deadline so I have more time to get it done. So I hope that was in some way helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. And one more thing on the unexpected growth of the YouTube channel. Thank you for being a part of that. Thank you for being here and for watching these videos. Thank you for all your kind words. It absolutely means the world to me. It is the meaningful work that I've been looking for my entire life. So thank you for being a part of it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.